you're watching this, it's not an accident. Maybe you think you just clicked on another video. Maybe you're sitting alone right now, pretending you're fine, but something in your heart felt heavy enough to search for words. And somehow, you ended up here. So let me speak to you the way love speaks. Quietly, honestly. If you're watching this, it's for you. It's for the one who loves deeply, but feels unseen. For the one who gives everything and still wonders if they're enough. For the one who stays strong in front of the world, but breaks in silence at night. I don't know your name, I don't know your story, but I know this: love doesn't find you by coincidence. If you're watching this, it means your heart hasn't given up. It means a part of you still believes in something softer, something real. And I want you to hear this from a place of love. You are not too broken to be loved. You are not too late to begin again. You are not invisible. Sometimes life tests you. Sometimes love leaves. Sometimes people walk away when you needed them most. But that doesn't make you unworthy. It makes you human. So if you're watching this, maybe it's because you needed someone to remind you that your heart still matters. And today, I'm speaking to you not as a stranger, but as someone who believes that love always finds the ones who are brave enough to keep feeling. If you're watching this, it's for you. Not by accident, not because the algorithm pushed it, not because you were bored. You're here because something inside you is tired of pretending. Something inside you is done being silent. And maybe you don't even know what that something is yet. Maybe it just feels like a weight in your chest, a quiet ache, a question you're afraid to say out loud, but you're here. And that tells me your heart is still fighting. You might think you're weak because you feel too much, because you love too deeply, because you care when others seem to move on so easily. But let me tell you something gently. The world has always tried to convince soft hearts that they're fragile. The truth is, soft hearts endure the most. If you're watching this, maybe you then hurt. Maybe you gave your loyalty to someone who treated it like an option. Maybe you stayed when it would have been easier to walk away. Maybe you chose love, even when pride told you not to. And now you're sitting with the consequences of being brave. Because loving is brave. People think strength is about how loud you can be, how quickly you can detach, how easily you can replace someone. But real strength is staying open after you've been disappointed. Real strength is choosing not to let pain turn you cold. Real strength is believing in love again when your last experience tried to teach you not to. If you're watching this, it means you haven't given up. Maybe you wanted to. Maybe there were nights you stared at the ceiling, wondering why you weren't enough for someone who meant everything to you. Maybe you replayed conversations in your head, trying to figure out where you went wrong. Maybe you blamed yourself for things that were never yours to carry. And that's what love does. Sometimes it makes you question your worth. It makes you shrink yourself to fit into someone else's comfort. It makes you apologize for asking to be chosen. But listen to me carefully. You should never have to beg to be valued. You should never have to dim your light just to keep someone from leaving. The right kind of love doesn't make you feel small. It doesn't make you compete for attention. It doesn't make you feel like you're too much. If someone made you feel like you were too much, it's only because they were not enough for the depth you carry. You love in a way that is rare. You stay when others run. You forgive when others hold grudges. You try again when others quit. And somewhere along the way, you started believing that your loyalty was a flaw. It's a gift. And the world needs people who still believe in connection, who still believe in connection, who still believe that love is not disposable. If you're watching this, maybe you feel alone right now. Maybe your phone is quiet when you wish it wasn't. Maybe the person you thought would fight for you chose silence instead. Maybe you're learning the painful lesson that not everyone who says, "I love you," knows how to show it. And that hurts. It hurts to realize that you were more invested than they were. It hurts to accept that you can't force someone to see your value. It hurts to let go of the future you imagined. But here's something you need to understand. Their inability to love you the way you deserve is not proof that you are unlovable. It is proof that they were not ready for something real. You don't lose when someone walks away from you after you gave your best. They lose someone who was willing to fight for them. You lose someone who was unsure, and uncertainty has no place in love. If you're watching this, I want you to take a breath with me. Just for a moment, step away from the self-blame. Step away from the fear that maybe you'll always be the one who loves more. Step away from the idea that you have to change who you are to keep someone. You don't have to become colder to survive. You don't have to pretend you don't care. You don't have to act unbothered to look strong. There is power in your honesty. There is power in your vulnerability. There is power in saying, I loved with everything I had, even if it didn't work out, even if they left, even if you're still healing. Because loving fully is never a mistake. It's a reflection of your character. It's a reflection of your depth. It's a reflection of your depth. It's a reflection of the kind of partner you are capable of being. And one day, someone will recognize that instead of running from it. If you're watching this, maybe you're scared to try again. Maybe you've built walls and told yourself it's safer this way. Maybe you've convinced yourself that you're fine alone because at least alone doesn't disappoint you. But deep down, you still want connection. You still want someone to look at you and see you not just your strengths, not just your smiles, but your fears, your scars, your quiet moments, and still choose you. That desire doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. We are wired for connection, for partnership, for shared laughter and shared silence. And even when you tell yourself you don't need anyone, your heart whispers something different. If you're watching this, it means that whisper is still alive. It means you haven't let the world harden you completely. It means there's still hope inside you, even if it's small. And hope is powerful. Hope is what makes you try again after heartbreak. Hope is what makes you send that vulnerable message. Hope is what makes you believe that maybe, just maybe, the next chapter will be different. But before the next chapter begins, you have to understand something important. The love you are searching for cannot replace the love you refuse to give yourself. If you look in the mirror and only see your flaws, no one else's compliments will feel real. If you believe you are difficult to love, you will accept less than you deserve. If you think you have to earn affection, you will overextend yourself for people who would never do the same. You have to start seeing yourself the way you see the people you love, with patience, with forgiveness, with compassion. You are allowed to have standards. You are allowed to expect consistency. You are allowed to walk away from situations that drain you. Choosing yourself is not selfish, it's necessary. And maybe that's why you're here right now. Maybe you needed someone to remind you that you matter, that your feelings matter, that your feelings matter, that your heart deserves protection too. You spend so much time being strong for others, so much time being understanding, so much time giving understanding, so much time giving second chances. But when was the last time you gave yourself one? When was the last time you said, I did my best? And that's enough. If you're watching this, I want you to consider something. What if the love you lost was not a failure, but a lesson? What if it showed you the kind of communication you need, the kind of effort you expect, the kind of respect you will no longer compromise on? Pain can be a teacher, even when it feels like punishment. It teaches you your limits. It teaches you your worth. It teaches you that you cannot build a future with someone who refuses to meet you halfway. And maybe you're tired of meeting people halfway, only to realize they never intended to cross the bridge. So let them stay where they are. You keep walking, because somewhere ahead of you is someone who doesn't see your love as something to control or take advantage of, but something to cherish. Someone who doesn't disappear when things get hard. Someone who doesn't make you question where you stand. Someone who says, I'm here, and proves it. But until that person arrives, you have work to do. You have to rebuild the parts of yourself that doubted your value. You have to sit with the discomfort of being alone without interpreting it as rejection. You have to learn that peace is better than temporary passion that leaves you anxious. If you're watching this, it's because you are in the middle of becoming stronger than you were yesterday, not colder, not bitter, stronger, not bitter, stronger. The kind of strength that doesn't need revenge, the kind of strength that doesn't need validation, the kind of strength that quietly says, I know what I bring to the table, and that strength starts with accepting that you are not too much. You were simply offering your heart to someone who didn't know how to hold it, and that says more about them than it ever will about you. The kind of love you're searching for begins with how you see yourself. If you're watching this, maybe you're still waiting for someone to arrive and finally make you feel complete. Maybe you believe that when the right person shows up, the loneliness will disappear, the doubts will fade, and the emptiness will finally make sense. But love doesn't work like that. Doesn't come to rescue you from yourself. It comes to meet you where you already stand. The way you see yourself becomes the blueprint for how others treat you. If deep down you believe you are hard to love, you will accept half-hearted affection. If you think you are lucky just to be chosen, you will tolerate being an option. If you feel unworthy, you will chase validation instead of receiving commitment. And that's not because you're weak, it's because you haven't yet realized your value. You search for someone to choose you the way you've never chosen yourself. You hope someone else will silence the voice inside you that says you're not enough. But that voice doesn't disappear just because someone says, I love you. It quiets down when you start believing it yourself. Loving yourself isn't about arrogance. It's about respect. You've been so generous with love toward others. You've been patient with their fears, understanding with their flaws, forgiving with their shortcomings. Imagine if you gave that same grace to yourself. Imagine if instead of criticizing your sensitivity, you honored it. Instead of apologizing for your standards, you protected them. Instead of shrinking to avoid being too much, you stood tall in who you are. The love you're looking for begins the moment you stop negotiating your worth. Because when you truly see yourself as valuable, you stop entertaining people who don't. You stop begging for clarity. You stop over-explaining your feelings just to be understood. You stop chasing effort that should be given freely. You begin to attract differently when you believe differently. Confidence isn't loud. It's quiet. It's the calm understanding that you don't need to compete for a place in someone's life. It's knowing that if someone walks away, it doesn't erase your value. It simply reveals incompatibility. You deserve someone who sees your heart and feels grateful, not overwhelmed. But before someone else can see you clearly, you have to remove the distorted lens you've been using on yourself. The lens built from past rejections, from childhood insecurities, from comparisons, from moments where you were made to feel invisible. You are not invisible. Deficit, you are not invisible. You are not an afterthought. You are not a backup plan. When you understand that deeply, not just intellectually, but emotionally, you move differently. You love differently. You choose differently. You no longer settle for crumbs when you know you deserve a full table. And here's the truth. The relationship you build with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship in your life. If you abandon yourself to keep someone else, you will always feel anxious. If you silence your needs to avoid conflict, you will always feel resentful. If you ignore your intuition to maintain connection, you will always feel unsettled. But when you stand with yourself, when you protect your peace, honor your boundaries, and trust your instincts, you create a foundation that no one can shake. Love is not meant to complete you. It is meant to complement you. You are already whole. And the moment you start seeing yourself as someone worthy of consistent, honest, deep love, that is the moment everything shifts.